Please help me poop. Now, we don't hear that very often in the office, but actually it's what a lot of the infants that are coming in that are not able to communicate with us with English are trying to communicate by crying, with their colicky screams. They're reaching out for help. And so this video is all about how can we help your children have better bowel movements. 5 to 28% of American kids have constipation. And I wanted to share with you, if we look over here at a nerve function chart, so if children are dealing with constipation and gas and irritable bowel and stomach bloating and stomach aches, let's look at the lower back, because the lower back are the nerves you can see here that go to the large intestine. You know, between the small and the large intestine, there's a valve called the ileocecal valve, that if your brain isn't sending signals to that valve, we're gonna have issues with digestion. So when we check our children, our infants that are dealing with gas and constipation and colic and just fussy potty habits, we first always check the atlas, and then we're gonna check the lower back. And very commonly we see with lower back and lumbar subluxations, problems in digestion. And if you look over my shoulder, there's a beautiful storyboard. This was 24 years ago. It was actually in El Salvador. I had the opportunity of visiting El Salvador with 24 other chiropractors. We were doing a chiropractic mission trip, and it was just absolutely life-changing to just see the culture and the food and the people, and we were so welcomed. And on the first day, I met a family that had their daughter have both of her feet pointed in, both of her toes pointed in, pigeon-toed. And the doctors there in El Salvador had taken x-rays of her spine, had taken x-rays of her ankles. And you know, she was 3 years old when I met her. And just a smiley little, bright, cheerful little girl. But she was planned on having surgery. Her parents had it scheduled. So they brought in their x-rays. I took a look at their x-rays and could see that right at the bottom of her lower back, right above her sacrum, her tailbone, she had a subluxation. And so I told the parents, we're gonna check your daughter, Diana, and we're gonna give her a very gentle adjustment to her lower back. And after the adjustment, boy, oh boy, her eyes lit right up. And I told the mom and dad, the uncle and grandma and grandpa, I said, it's a pretty good chance that after that adjustment, we've relieved some of the nerve pressure, that she's likely gonna have a bowel movement. Now they looked at me like I was crazy, going, okay, American doctor, I don't think you do something to our daughter's lower back, it's gonna make her go potty. And I instructed them to come back later that day. And so they came back that afternoon with plates of food. They brought all this food to share because they were just so grateful that their daughter, Diana, she just had her first bowel movement in 2.5 weeks. Now they never shared with me that she had digestive issues. They wanted to know, you know, how can we get her feet pointed forward, because they've been pointing in since birth. Well, Diana was a baby that was born cesarean, so she was feet first. And in the process of the doctor pulling her out, likely she had her lower back injured. And we saw Diana, I saw her twice a day that week, and she did exponentially better. And I just recently, last year, received an email from the family, and it was a beautiful letter that they had emailed over describing their daughter Diana did not need to get surgery, that her feet did correct themselves on their own, without drugs, without surgery. You know, the body is designed to heal naturally. When we added that specific chiropractic adjustment to Diana, it freed up those nerves. She had regular communication between her brain and her colon, small and large intestine, and had regular bowels. And 24 years later, she was a thriving individual, had no health issues, never needed surgery. And I just wanted to share this story because so many people have kids that are dealing with digestive issues, and they're trying the latest and greatest medication, the drugs, supplements, etc. And I'm here to share with you, maybe, just maybe, you should check and make sure that their nerve system, that their body electric is working at its very best, how God intended. Now, a lot of you out there have already experienced the miracles of chiropractic, but if you know somebody that hasn't, I think this would be a good time to share that video. You never know what you might think, say, or do today that could impact the lives of millions tomorrow. Thank you.